Motorcycle Adventure Dirtbike TV, supported proudly by Adventure Spec in the UK, Rally Raid Products, Giant Loop in the United States, CFMOTO in Australia, Pirelli Tyres, Motul Oils, RK Chains and Australian Adventure Bike Magazine.
Mad TV viewers, welcome to Adventure News Desk, an exciting new chapter in the short but significant history of Mad TV. Headed by Andrew Clubb, editor of Australian Adventure Bike magazine, Adventure News Desk is Clubby's take on all things motorcycle adventure. A veteran motorcycle journalist with oil running through his veins and more than 30 years in the industry, Clubby's opinion counts. So grab a coffee, have a listen and tell us what you think.
G'day adventurers, I'm Clubby, and how's this? Dave's given me this opportunity to welcome you all to the Mad TV ADV News Desk. This is it right here, the desk, right? And I'm the man that works at this particular point. We're going to kick off with just some news around the traps is what Dave wants with this particular episode that we're putting together. It's the first trial. See how we go. See if you like it. See if I can retain those necessary analytics, as Dave says, about his YouTube work. And I'm going to kick off with a subject that you probably none of you would even have actually thought I would do so had you not seen the little teaser that we'd put out there in the preview to this coming up on the channel. We're talking electrics. Electric adventure bikes. And before you say, what? Yeah, it's a fact. They're coming. There have been some here already. Think of the name Zero. Think of the Zero DS. Here in Aussie, it had a couple of years here on sale. Didn't make much penetration, but now, last weekend in Las Vegas, USA, at the Bombardier Recreational Products Dealer Convention, over a couple of thousand of American dealers were treated to the new range of CanAm products and Sea-Doo products and other aligned power sports brands that company offers. But the big name that stood out for us with some dirt bike heritage, and you all know I've got plenty of dirt bike heritage, is CanAm. Now, if you're thinking CanAm is only Spider, three-wheeler, clunky, you know, Ulyssian type road transport vehicles that we see on the highways here in Oz and overseas, start thinking again. CanAm are coming back. They're coming back into dirt bikes, motorbikes, and the first two models that they put on display at this dealer convention last week in Vegas were electric powered. The first one was called a Pulse. Now it's a road oriented, looking like a naked sort of sports bike look about it. Yeah, okay, yeah, so what, big deal. But then, bang-o, off came the covers of the Origin, CanAm Origin, which is a dual sport, they've branded it as, and they've spec'd it as that. Wire wheels, 21-inch front, 18-inch rear, long travel suspension, single-sided swing arm. Yeah, it kind of does look dirt-worthy. Yeah, dual sport's probably a fair call. I mean, you know, it's not planned. It was just an initial release, an initial showing to get the dealers stoked up again for CanAm. But it's going to be curious, isn't it, to see where it goes. You know, like asking the requirement of an electric adventure bike, man, it's a big ask, isn't it? It's one thing to go for an adventure down to the local Starbucks, okay, just up around the corner, and know you've got plenty of range. It's another whole issue to head for Birdsville and Big Red on an electric powered adventure bike, isn't it? Hey, but listen, it's the way of the future, isn't it? Electric. I mean, Dave, he put me onto electric mountain bikes. We're thoroughly converts now. It's hit the bicycle market with all guns blazing. And in some time ahead, it's going to hit motorcycles as well. And it's already started. And the thing that makes me think that maybe there's a little potential for this particular brand and bike and the broader off-road electric powered machinery is, think of this Stark. Everyone's heard of the Stark Varg motocross bike that was released earlier this year. And then released is probably, it was promoted earlier this year. It's not on sale. They sold 1,000 of those Stark Vargs in the first 24 hours that it was announced. In the 3 months since then, they've sold 10,000, and they're pre-sales. Okay, the bike's not even a thing yet. You can't even go into a dealer. You don't even buy it from a dealer. You get it shipped out to you. But they've already pre-sold 10,000 of these Stark Varg electric motocross bikes. And who knows, if not in the too far distant future, well, we can be looking at electric adventure bikes as well. And CanAm, they've put their name front and center to kick the whole movement off. And then while we're talking about CanAm, as I said, their parent company, Bombardier Recreational Products, I want Dave to play a little bit of tape and have a look at this thing that they also pulled the wraps off. It's called the Rise. It's an electric hydrofoil. Have a look at the thing running on the film. It's like a crossover between a watercraft, a surfboard, and a stand-up paddleboard. This is where it's going. It's electric powered. Look at this thing. How much fun does that look? Yeah, again, electric motors, way of the future. Now, it wouldn't be an adventure bike news show, would it, if we didn't talk about unicorns? Isn't it, eh? That's what everybody wants to talk about. The ultimate adventure bike unicorn. So we've just had news here in Aussie. A brand from Portugal. Yeah, and I do like the occasional Portuguese tart. Haha. Okay, so it's a look called the AJP is the brand. The model is the PR7. Now this bike, it kicked off in about 2014. And when you look at it, you straight away think unicorn. That very first model that they showed at the big European shows back then, it was powered by the Minarelli 660cc engine, big thumper engine that also powered the Tenere 660. By 2017, the bike finally reached production, but it was powered by a SWM motor that actually came from the Husqvarna days, Husqvarna family, after it was pensioned off by BMW as its previous owner. So the AJP PR7, it touched down globally 2017 with a transformed SWM/Husqvarna motor. Okay, it arrived in Aussie. Some mates of mine bought them, lined straight up for them. Hey, it looks good. It looks like a rally bike for dual sport and adventure applications. 17 litre fuel tank. The tank's under the seat button. Nice low centre of gravity. It's got a tower. It's got a screen. It's got a digital tablet display. It's got long travel suspension. It's a 600cc thumper. It's got plenty of motor. But as awesome as it was, and I rode it, I test rode it back then, did a 700-kilometre ride from Coffs Harbour to Sydney back then as a test on for one of the magazines I worked on back then. It was awesome in the bush. It was a true dirt bike. The only Achilles heel for it was there were too many Achilles heels for it. The reliability, the ownership experience of it, oh man, these guys, these mates of mine, they just tore their hair out, and for one of them, what was left of his hair, it was long gone. You know, my old mate Clive, the professor up there at Motorcycle Biz, see his hands? That's what he'd do. Rub them together every time someone rolled up the driveway with a PR7. All sorts of ongoing issues. You know, they'd bend axles, ECU dramas, battery starter dramas, inner fork coating issues, mate. It was just a litany of problems. To the credit of those owners, to the credit of the then distributor, they addressed everything. And the Aussie boys here were hard to get their feedback back to head office, back to the factory in Portugal. And then now, here we are, we're thinking, well, is it going to die? Is it going to survive? Bang, some news has busted recently. New distributor here in Oz, new 22 model PR7 is here. Okay, new ECU, stronger starting system, updated suspension, still got the 17 litre tank under the seat, got a new tablet up there on the tower on the display, the fairing, away we go again. So second time coming for AJP, really going to be curious to see how they go. They're also on sale in America now. They've got a distributor over there. That'll only just provide more feedback back to the factory. I reckon it's the closest thing we've seen to a unicorn that we all dream of when it comes to a medium-sized, large-capacity, single-cylinder thumper in an off-road platform. And the comparison I'm going to show here, just have a look at what these still photos. There's the PR7 on one hand, and then look at this other beast we've got there. KTM 450 Rally Raid Racer. Now, there's similarities, okay? I mean, similar enough, okay, that we can compare them. Okay, the PR7 here in Aussie, it's a $17,990 motorbike plus on roads. The 450RR, €27,990 plus VAT, plus delivery, plus they only make 70 of those worldwide for release, and they're all gone to Dakar races anyway. But it comes back to the same old question. There's similarities there for sure, but tell me why? Why does KTM not just make a dumbed down version of that 450RR for every man on the street? Isn't it? The bike's there, the tech's there. I'm amazed. It's still amazing. And the unicorn, it still just dances off over the horizon, doesn't it? But maybe one day. Now, what do you think when I say Chinese takeaway? For me, dim sims, sanctuary bao, and honey king prawns, eh? But no, China, it's known for a lot more things than that. And now they're starting to get real penetration in the adventure bike market. CFMOTO is the brand. There's been lots of other Chinese brands float around, had some pretty sort of half-hearted attempts at getting some traction outside of the domestic Chinese market. CFMOTO, they seem to be the first ones that are actually gaining a bit of ground with their brand. They're a massive company in China. They're China's biggest power sports manufacturer, thousands upon thousands of employees, all sorts of brands, all sorts of product. What we want to be hone in on right is the adventure bikes that they do. And the 800 MT Touring, there's two models, there's a sport and a touring. Sport's more road oriented. The touring, yeah, it's the adventure bike banger. And when I say banger, it's loaded with more fruit than the DY fruit market. So much fruit on the thing. And the price, $14,999 here in Aussie. Heated grips, heated seat, crash bars, adjustable screen, oh mate, everything, centre stand, all kind of goodies that you can imagine. And we tested it. It's on. We've actually got a ride review in the latest issue of AAB magazine that's on sale right now. Now the summary that I had from riding it, and we put 10 days on it, nearly 1,000 Ks on the beast. Soft roader is what comes to my mind. Okay, it's powered by the KTM, the same motor from out of the KTM 790 range. Obviously then into CFMOTO's own chassis, suspension componentry, etc. Still got some good brands about it, still got some good parts about it. It was like a soft roader for sure, but what a nice ride. This is the thing, like again, and we always talk about cups of tea. Some things aren't your cup of tea, some things aren't my cup of tea, but this kind of bike at that price, it's going to be surprising how many people make it their cup of tea who want to get into a larger capacity, multi-cylinder adventure bike, but without having to spend $25,000 on it, which you might have to do with other certain brands, of course. It's interesting to see how it takes up. Of course, CFMOTO, it's a strong brand with their agricultural products, their ATVs, UTVs, etc. They don't have as big a dealer network here in Aussie as some of the Japanese and European brands, but the quote is they're selling every single one of these CFMOTO 800 MTs that they can land here in Aussie. So they're getting some traction there. They also say they're developing more larger capacity adventure bikes. We look forward to those. Again, you just know they're going to be white hot on price. They've also now just hit the American market. So, our viewers over there in the US, hey, have a look at it. They're going to have to rename it there, but they've got to rebadge it as the Adventura. Apparently, they can't use the MT logo over there because of a clash with Yamaha's muscle bike range, their MTs. But yeah, it's landing in the US now. It'll be super sharp priced over there as well, I bet. Look, it's interesting. And it's not like, people have preconceptions about Chinese this, Chinese that. It's not the case anymore. No way. It's worth a look. And probably the biggest endorsement that the bike has had here in Aussie is that now one of the top Cape York tour operators from Roy Kunda, the legend of the Cape. How's this? Old Roy. Now, Roy's tight with the dollars, mate. He knows the value of a dollar. He threw down the dollars to get a fleet of these 800 MT Tourings, and he now runs a luxury adventure tourer up to the tip and back on 800 MTs. We've got some footage that we'll be showing right now. Have a look at them, mate. They're doing everything up there but the deepest parts of the telegraph track. And Roy's been super impressed by how well they've run and how they're, so far, they're proving with their reliability. So an interesting brand, an interesting look, 800 MT from CFMOTO, and yeah, I'll have some more dim sims, please. Something a bit different this week, and it's a test bike for the magazine. And I think Dave's also getting one as a test bike for Mad TV. Royal Enfield. Yes, India's finest. Made like a gum, as the expression goes with Royal Enfield. It's a Himalayan that I've got. And it's the first time I've ever ridden a Royal Enfield, let alone a Himalayan. Took it out last weekend, 850 kilometre 2-day ride up over the Blue Mountains here from Sydney, out into the freezing cold with the boys from the DSMRA. Hey, it did it. It did everything that all the other larger capacity bikes, more expensive bikes did. Wouldn't say it was the fastest bike on tour. Wouldn't say it was the most comfortable bike on tour. Wouldn't say it was the most comforting in terms of, is anything going to go on with this bike reliability-wise on tour? But it did everything. It did it, got there and back, all in one piece, dodged some flooded rivers, rode in the pissing rain for hours. Yeah, it just did it. And I think what I keep coming back to is it's easy for a lot of us to try and write these kind of bikes off. But they're, cheap's probably, well, it's cheap. Okay, statement of fact, it is cheap, but it's not a cheap bike. It's built solid. Solid as a tank, mate. It weighs a small ton for a single cylinder bike. And the thing is, it's only 411 cc's. Yeah, that surprised me. I thought it was a 600 thumper just by looking at the sheer bulk of the donk. But no, little 411cc thumper. But mate, it cruises along 100, 110 kilometres an hour until you get to a hill. But yeah, it's got really long gearing. It's only a 5-speed box, but they're really well-spaced, long ratio gears. Tour's fine. Brakes, I'd call them adequate without being unreal. Suspension, I'd call it adequate without being unreal. Tyres, I'd call them dreadful. And they're certainly not unreal. They've got these C-E-A-T low block tyres. Oh mate, we had so much wet red clay on the second day. The thing wanted to go sideways, but that was the fault of the tyres, not the fault of the bike, okay? Knobbies on it, it would have been a whole different world for sure. And the core with it is the price. It's just over just under $8,500 here in Aussie. On the road, right away, to your heart's content. It's all about cheap, economical, overland travel, and that's what the Himalayan does. It's been interesting for sure. We'll have a full review in the next issue of the magazine, number 18. We'll also have a review with Dave on Mad TV. And the other beast that they've just done is, just speaking of the Himalayan, they've actually now spun off a second model. Still got the same motor, just a few changes to make it a little bit more urban friendly, still adventure-ish, I guess, but it's got a smaller 19-inch front wheel. The Himalayan's got a 21. The Scram, it loses a few of the crash bar protections at the front. The rear rack goes as well. But hey, it's a little bit cheaper, but it's an entry-level proposition. And this is what I say a lot, and Dave says the same. And those of us that have been in the industry for a while, you've got to keep new people coming into the industry to perpetuate the cycle. And that's what bikes like this do. It's cheap motoring, to use the old classic term, and that's what will bring people into adventure bike riding, and that's better for everybody. A subject very close to my heart, Tenerés. Yep, there's more than a few parked out there in my shed. Old ones, new ones. The one that isn't parked there, but it's called the World Raid. It's the new one. I've got a big story on that bike in the next issue of the mag that's just gone away to the printer. And I headed it the next generation. And I say to you, and I say to Yamaha, and I said this to Yamaha years ago, this bike should have been the first generation of Teneré 700. And now why do you ask? Okay, what Teneré ever before has hit the market with less than 23 litres fuel capacity? That's right, Zippo, none. Yet they delivered the Teneré 700, nearly 3 years ago it was launched. 16 litre fuel tank. But then hey, what do I know? They've sold every damn one of them that they can build, and there's been waiting lists, and they've just been like hotcakes, haven't they? And okay, I eat my words. Yep, I've done a zillion miles on the 700 since they've come in here. I've had 2 of them already in the last couple of years. Fabulous touring bike, peachy motor, but yeah, for us here in Aussie, we want fuel range. When we're over the Viking range and we're heading west to points unknown, you need more than 300, 320, 330k fuel range, which is what you could bank on the 16 litre tank of the 700 if conditions are favourable, if it's not headwind, if you're not loaded to the max. So now Yamaha's answered it with the World Raid 23 litre dual fuel cells. It's got an Öhlins steering damper on it as well, new colour screen on it, but importantly it's also got boosted suspension, and that's the big thing that the 700 needed as well, mate. All us pie eaters here in Aussie, man, the first time we hit any hole deeper than that with the front end, it was just fillings thrown out on the street, head into the crossbar, and just hang on to that swap for goodness sakes and ride it out. So all of us have done all that. We've had to make all those mods to our 700s. Yamaha have now done it now for the World Raid. But how's this? I can't get one. I can't have one. All you lucky Poms, all you lucky Euros, you're roosting around on them all around there, doing your Trans-Euro Trail, all that other good stuff. Here in Aussie, we don't get them until March next year. Why? It's just the production and logistical cycle, isn't it? They're trying to make them as fast as they can over there in France. They're going to be making them in Japan as well. It's just the new way of the world post-COVID, how manufacturing is impacted, how freight is impacted. But it means Tenere nutters like me here in Aussie, we've got to sit here, twiddling our thumbs, waiting for the World Raid to turn up. But let me assure you, I'll be the first in the queue here in Aussie when the World Raid does get here. In the meantime, all you guys that are riding World Raids already, punch us a comment. Tell us how good it is, and just rest assured I'll be crying in my beer while I read them. 10 years of service. What do you get at work? Long service leave? You might even get a gold watch. What about if you've done 25 years of sterling service for your master? What do you get then? If you're the Suzuki DR650, you get your pension card and you get shown the door. Can you believe it? The DR650. 25 years down the track, and we've just had to pension it off here in Aussie. I don't know if it's still available in any OS markets anywhere. Let us know. Let us know if it is. If you can still get one in the US. I don't know if it'd be in Europe. Probably not. It would have been legislated out with Euro 5 emissions over there years ago, I'm guessing. But I've got to tell you, here in Aussie, the DR650 is just one of those legendary adventure bikes that is literally, it's launched not 1,000, tens of thousands of adventure riding missions here in Australia. It's just that it's just always caught on here in Aussie. Simple bike, air, oil cooled engine, long travel suspension, robust, reliable, reasonably handling, economical, but you just can't kill them. And man, some people have tried to kill them, that's for sure. Thousands of mods available for them, you know, cartridge emulators, gold valves up there in the fork to boost the suspension action, flat side carbies, airbox mods, free-flowing exhaust system, easy to get more power out of them. And then for bolt-ons and Farkles, mate, the list is endless. So it's got a bit of a tear in my eye this week to know that now the DR650, it's been pensioned off here in Aussie. And if you ask why, well, it's just another victim. A victim of emissions laws. And then also here in Australia, we've got some ABS laws that are culling out various models of motorbike. We had laws come in with ABS that all bikes had to run ABS in from 2019, so a couple of years ago. The DR650, it still managed to carry on under like a continuation law that existing models at that time had another 2-year grace period. Well, the grace period now is up for the mighty Doctor. It's really sad to see it go. And it just leaves a corner of the world for people that want those bikes that are just simple, that are reliable, that are easy to ride, easy to own, cheap to buy, and in one fell swoop, it's just now all landed on the lap of the KLR 650, the mighty Kawasaki. And see what Kawasaki's done, they've continued with their KLR as a global model. It runs EFI, it's got ABS now, so it's fully legal. It's just got the whole market to itself, and that's important. And I must say, I'm going to wrap this little piece up with a visual from our test ride on the KLR 650s that Dave and I did earlier this year. I reckon it's a perfect opportunity to show some of that glorious footage from down there in the high country of Victoria, up there with the drone, looking down on Dave and I, as we looked forward to hitting those trails you can see in the footage on the KLR, but at the same time waved a goodbye, a tear in our eye to the poor little DR650 owners down there who know there's no more new DR650s for you. Sorry guys, but hey, Team Green makes hay while the sun shines. were the marketing manager of a leading international motorcycle brand and you had a, let's just say a 1200 triple cylinder, high performance kick, you know what, adventure bike coming to market, what would you do with it? The very first ones that arrive in your market. What would you do? Lavish photographs of it down by the seaside? Perhaps take it out to Broken Hill. Take it out there on the edge of the desert, Birdsville. Yeah, some nice money shots in the sunset there. Golden sands behind it. What would you do? Is that what you do? I think that's what you do as a marketing manager. Or you could be an absolute nutter of a marketing manager, and when some guy, a journo, yeah, part-time journo but part-time racer, that's the clincher kicker with this one. When a guy like Cam Donald, now he's the coolest cat amongst all cats. Great guy. Isle of Man winner, cracker of a racer, cracker of a journo, and for whatever reason he's got a little penchant, a little love of a particular event over in Adelaide, South Australia, one of the longest running off-road events in Australia, the SA 24-hour reliability trial. And as the name implies, you start at 11 AM, you finish at 11 AM the next day. You don't get off the bike other than to put fuel in it, to have something to eat, or to have a pee or a crap in the bush if you really need to go. That's it, 24 hours straight. And so Cam thinks, yeah, right, let's take this new Tiger 1200 Rally Explorer Pro and let's throw it at the 24-hour in South Australia. Like, what? It's an off-road event. It's the best part of an enduro course. Okay, there's transport that link up all the competitives, but it's just bunted out like old Thumper Nats that we had here in Aussie. Grass track course, and yeah, he says, yeah, I'm going to have a stab at that. He's ridden it before on traditional enduro bikes. So yeah, drags another mate of his, another guy called Don Owen. The two of them, they climb on two of these Tiger 1200s. They go and do it. Poor old Don, well, his day ended in the night. Head butted a ledge, front of the bike, kind of crumpled, kind of got a little bit damaged, a little bit worse for wear. He pulled out the duct tape, he pulled out the zip ties, he tried to get back and finish the event, couldn't quite do it. Cam, man, he throttled on, mate. And like he did it, got that whopping great big 1200 Tiger all the way around, all 4 laps, all 24 hours, gets his finisher's medal. First time that a big, large capacity adventure bike has finished that event. Mate, kudos to Triumph, kudos to Cam, and that is only making Dave and I more toey because we're getting on a couple of Tiger 1200s in a week or two and we're doing an outback run on them. But none of this 24-hour business. We'll be sleeping at night. We're not that silly, Cam, okay? We're not that stupid. No, don't mean stupid. Not that brave, I should say. But no, great work, Triumph. Well done, guys. Well done, Cam. We can't wait to ride the new Tigers real soon and get a review on both the mag and on the channel. I'm down, didn't I? So life, yeah, it can be hard. And I reckon there's just a feeling, something's going on out there. Hard adventure. I reckon it's coming. If not, it's not already here in a big way, but it's coming, okay? And I reckon, full kudos to Dave, our man Dave here at Mad TV. He might have just got those wheels in motion for a bit of hard adventure. Who remembers, and I reckon everybody must have seen it because it's like got 1.7 million trillion zillion views on Mad TV. Epic footage with Chris Birch, that gnarly, wiry dude of a Kiwi that rides like, oh, I don't know who he rides like, but he just rides unreal. But yeah, Dave and Chris worked together on a couple of video projects about 7 years ago, and it was just nuts where Birchie was throwing that big V-twin KTM. Fast forward now, today, everybody has got big capacity adventure bikes, and they've all got models now. They're like, it's just gestation, isn't it? They're not just now plain old converted street bikes. They've actually now got dedicated chassis, dedicated suspension, dedicated wheels, dedicated electronics to let you push the barriers, push the envelope off-road. And not only is it guys like, and how's this? Birchie's still out there doing it. I just saw his name in Erzberg and Romaniac in the last month and two, still doing his stuff. But what about other guys? What about like Paul Tarez, mate, on the Tenere 700? What does that guy, how does that guy do that stuff? Just gnarly. Gnarly is only the beginning. But then other manufacturers now, they want a bit of this slice of this action. It's ultimate promotion for their motorcycles. What about the guy, Rockstar? Mate, if I was going to have a man crush on a guy, it could be this guy. Ivan Cervantes, Spanish mega legend enduro hero, who's now deeply entrenched with Triumph, developing, not only helping to develop Triumph's current large capacity 900 and 1200cc adventure bikes. He just actually raced the 900 in the Baja Aragon event in Spain, won the trail class on a 900 Triumph Tiger. How cool is that? But he's also working with Triumph on their new dirt bikes alongside Ricky Carmichael. Now I'm going to be facetious here. I'm going to get Dave to make the sound of crickets just for a moment, because none of us have heard anything about these Triumph dirt bikes. But hey, they'll be coming. They'll be coming. But yeah, so Triumph have got Cervantes out there riding like a rock star, like a hero on the Tiger. And then what about the new Ducati, Desert X? Antoine Mio, another hero, former enduro world champion. Look at this footage of the guy riding the Desert X around a motocross track in Italy. Awesome, just unreal. All the manufacturers and brands are really hitting this corner of the market hard with all this kind of promotional and marketing footage. It's hard adventure, not hard enduro, hard adventure is what I call it. And I just know we're going to keep seeing more of it. And I just know I'm not going to be tempted to fooled into trying to replicate these feats, which are obviously performed on a closed circuit under controlled conditions, aren't they? Okay, adventurers, there you go. Time to sign off. Dave's pulling the plug on the YouTube feed. I only get so many minutes. Let us know what you think. The Darcinator, Dave, he wants more of this. Okay, I'll help a brother out. You know I'll do that for sure. But hey, do you want me doing it? Do you want me to get Nugget in here? Nugget in here doing it. Imagine the news Nugget could give you. Don't know, maybe not. But anyway, do let us know what you think. The comments are there. Dave's awesome at commenting back. He'll always reply. He'll tell you where to go. He'll tell you what to do. He won't give you many words, but the words that he does give you, they matter, okay? And comments matter. So let us know what you think, and hopefully I'll be seeing you again maybe in a couple of weeks, a couple of months, a couple of years, sometime. Been good knowing you this time anyway. See you all.